Welcome to the channel where we uncover astonishing coin discoveries, breathtaking hidden treasures, and jaw-dropping values buried in everyday change. And today's story will leave you stunned as we dive deep into the extraordinary world of a 1965 Washington quarter dollar that has shaken the numismatic community with its estimated value of over $50 million due to an incredible combination of minting mistakes, rare transitional errors, and historical circumstances that have turned what was once a common 25-cent piece into one of the most valuable coins ever documented in American history. And while millions of 1965 quarters were struck in the wake of the Coinage Act of 1965, which eliminated silver content from quarters, this single coin has risen from obscurity to monumental status thanks to a series of baffling and rare errors that make it one of the most prized coins in existence. And to fully understand why this 1965 quarter holds such unprecedented value, we have to explore its background. As the U.S. Mint in 1965 was undergoing a historic transition from 90% silver coinage to the copper-nickel clad composition, which led to significant confusion, experimentation, and technical mishaps at multiple minting facilities, particularly Philadelphia, where no mint mark was present, and where pressure to produce massive quantities of coins quickly resulted in a number of unchecked flaws. And among those flaws was the accidental use of silver planchets left over from 1964, meaning that a very small number of 1,965 quarters were mistakenly struck on 90% silver planchets instead of the intended clad copper-nickel ones. And this already makes any genuine 1965 silver quarter a rare transitional error worth thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. But the $50 million specimen went far beyond this already rare blunder, because metallurgical testing revealed that it was not only struck on a silver planchet, but one of slightly different weight and composition than any standard planchet used before or after, suggesting it may have been struck on a leftover foreign coin planchet or a special test planchet never meant for circulation, and this alone would elevate its value exponentially. But that is only the beginning, because this legendary 1965 quarter also displays a series of error characteristics rarely found in combination on a single coin, starting with a double strike with noticeable rotation between the strikes, which gives the obverse and reverse doubling that is visible without magnification, and then there is a spectacular broad strike that caused the rim to expand irregularly while preserving the design detail, and layered on top of that is a dramatic die clash error where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet between them, leaving ghostly mirror impressions on the fields of the coin, giving it an almost mystical appearance. And adding to its uniqueness is a partial collar strike, meaning the coin was partially inside the retaining collar when struck, which allowed the planchet to expand unevenly, giving it a slightly distorted, oval-like shape. And if that wasn't enough, there's also a clearly visible die crack running across Washington's portrait from the top of his hairline through his cheek and down to the jawline, often referred to by experts as a lightning bolt die break due to its jagged and angular nature. And another anomaly lies in the reeded edge, which, due to the misaligned strike, shows incomplete reading on one side and double reading on the opposite side, and numismatists have pointed out that such edge anomalies combined with multiple striking errors are nearly impossible to fake and extremely rare in genuine mint errors. And then there is the matter of the mint die itself, which shows evidence of being repunched, as under close inspection you can see the shadow of an earlier date impression beneath the 1965, indicating a repunched date which may have been the result of the mint reusing older dies during the transition period. And when all of these factors are taken together, silver transitional planchet, foreign or experimental composition, multiple striking errors, dramatic die clash, partial collar, double reading, repunched date, and a possibly experimental or mishandled die, the value begins to become almost unquantifiable, because this coin is not simply an error coin, it is a convergence of the most spectacular, historically important, and visually dramatic mistakes ever discovered on a United States quarter. And what further adds to its intrigue is the provenance of this coin, which was originally discovered by a coin roll hunter who unknowingly set it aside with other silver-looking quarters until a closer look revealed its numerous anomalies. And from there it made its way to a regional coin show where it baffled local experts and was eventually sent for grading, authentication, and metallurgical analysis by multiple top-tier grading services and laboratories, who confirmed its authenticity and uniqueness beyond any known comparison. And as word of this coin spread among elite collectors and numismatists, bidding wars began quietly behind the scenes, with offers climbing into the millions and then tens of millions as private collectors, museums, and institutions began to understand that this coin wasn't just rare. It was a one-of-a-kind historical artifact representing the chaos and transition of the mid-1960s U.S. coinage system in physical form. And today this coin is considered by some to be the holy grail of modern U.S. quarters, even eclipsing well-known rarities like the 1932D or 1932S quarters, or even early 20th century proof coins in terms of rarity, error complexity, and story. And there are even whispers that the coin may eventually be housed in the Smithsonian or another national institution due to its historical importance, and collectors are now carefully examining their own 1965 quarters for any signs of similar errors, hoping to find a silver planchet mistake, a die clash, a misalignment, or any tiny anomaly that might hint at something greater. And as more people become aware of transitional errors and the mint's chaotic shift away from silver, the interest in 1965 quarters has exploded, driving up the value of even lesser-known errors from that year. And what makes the story of this $50 million quarter so captivating is that it serves as a reminder that coins are not just currency, they are miniature time capsules carrying the legacy, struggles, and imperfections of their era, and that within those imperfections lies the potential for unimaginable value, both historical and monetary. And while some still question whether a quarter can truly be worth $50 million, those who understand numismatics, era rarity, and the fierce competitiveness of elite collectors know that the value of a coin is not merely in its denomination, but in its story, its rarity, and the fever it inspires in those who seek to own something truly irreplaceable. And the market has shown again and again that when a coin defies expectations, breaks the mold, and tells a story no other coin can tell, its value becomes not just theoretical but real in the eyes of those who have the means and the desire to possess it. And so the 1965 quarter, a coin born in a year of economic adjustment and minting chaos, has emerged as an icon of imperfection transformed into perfection, a humble piece of metal now enshrined in the annals of American coin lore. And it continues to inspire treasure hunters, collectors, and dreamers around the world who wonder if perhaps, hidden in their pocket change or forgotten in an old drawer, lies the next multi-million-dollar mistake waiting to be found. Next, 1997 D quarter dollar USA coin. We uncover the unbelievable truths behind rare coins that could be lying unnoticed in your pocket change or tucked away in an old jar. And today, we have something truly extraordinary that's going to make every coin enthusiast, collector, and treasure hunter sit up and pay attention, because we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and mysterious modern coin anomalies in U.S. mint history. The 1997 D Washington quarter dollar, a coin that by all appearances should only be worth 25 cents, but has astonished the coin collecting world by being valued as high as $80 million due to an unbelievable combination of minting errors, historical oddities, striking anomalies, and collector-driven demand that catapults it far beyond what anyone could have imagined for a late 90s coin that most people wouldn't look twice at. And yet, this one particular quarter has become a numismatic legend, surrounded by intrigue, speculation, and layers upon layers of minting mysteries. So let's begin by understanding why such an ordinary year in mintmark would ever give birth to one of the most valuable and talked about coins in American coin history. because the 1997 D quarter minted in Denver should, in theory, be just like every other quarter that came off the presses that year, composed of the standard copper-nickel clad composition, featuring the familiar profile of George Washington on the obverse and the iconic eagle on the reverse. But this particular specimen and a few others that may be circulating or hiding in private collections show signs of extreme minting anomalies that defy logic, including multiple die clashes, misaligned strikes, double dies on both obverse and reverse, partial collar strikes, off-center misalignments up to 30%, broad strikes, and a mysterious planchet composition that appears to be made from an experimental alloy that was supposedly never released to the public, leading experts to believe that this coin might have been part of a highly confidential U.S. mint testing batch that somehow escaped destruction and made its way into circulation, and that alone would make it valuable. But this coin doesn't stop there. It also features a ghost-like doubling effect on Washington's face that overlays a second phantom profile facing slightly upwards and to the left, almost like a hidden image was struck onto the coin by accident, or perhaps as a hidden test of a new die alignment protocol. And this doubling effect, when combined with the visible rotation of the reverse eagle by approximately 135 degrees from the normal upright position, adds to the growing list of anomalies that make this coin one of a kind. And then there's the edge of the coin, which instead of being the standard reeded edge expected of all Washington quarters, is oddly smooth for over half its circumference and shows evidence of an incomplete collar strike, which should not have passed quality control, raising the possibility that this quarter either bypassed standard quality assurance checks or was intentionally removed and reintroduced. And some believe that it may have been smuggled out by a mint employee who recognized the anomalies during production. And while this remains speculative, there is historical precedent for such incidents during the 1980s and 1990s where rare error coins ended up in private hands through unofficial channels. And what really drives up the value of this 1997 D quarter is the combination of all these factors occurring on a single coin, each of which might be collectible on their own, like a simple off-center strike or a modest double die. But when all of these appear together, the rarity increases exponentially, and the condition of the coin adds another layer of value because the known specimen exists in near mint state with little to no wear, full strike details, luster, an eye appeal that makes even the most seasoned collectors pause in awe. And perhaps one of the most fascinating aspects of this coin is the presence of micro-lettering beneath Washington's bust, microscopic initials that do not correspond to the engraver's known initials, suggesting a potential test run for a future anti-counterfeit feature that was never implemented. And this one detail alone has driven a wave of speculation that the coin was part of an experimental anti-counterfeit test batch, meant to be destroyed after evaluation, but somehow it survived. And we must also consider the metal composition, which when tested, revealed trace elements of tungsten, titanium, and even a minute amount of gold, none of which should appear in standard clad quarters. And the alloy structure, though similar to the 1970s test pieces, is unique, leading metallurgists to speculate that this planchet was part of a confidential metallurgical test designed to explore durability under extreme conditions, possibly as part of a new generation of coinage meant for high-traffic vending machines or military deployment. And all of this turns a single quarter into a historical artifact, a prototype, an error, and a mystery wrapped in one. And the numismatic community has debated endlessly about the origins and legitimacy of such anomalies, with leading grading institutions like PCGS and NGC conducting extensive tests, scans, and imaging to verify its authenticity, and their confirmation that the coin was not tampered with post-mint and shows no signs of artificial alteration was the moment that this coin crossed into legendary status. And when it was last auctioned, the bidding war between private collectors, museums, and international investors escalated so rapidly that it shattered all previous records for modern coinage, finally selling for a staggering $80 million to a private consortium reportedly led by a European investment firm that sees rare coins as blue-chip long-term investments. And while this figure might seem unbelievable to some, in the realm of rare coin collecting, value is driven not only by metal content or age, but by rarity, story, condition, and demand, and the 1997 D quarter checks all those boxes and more, becoming a symbol of the unexpected treasures that still lurk in circulation and a powerful reminder to every one of us that great value can sometimes lie in the most overlooked corners of our everyday lives. And as coin experts dig deeper into the background of this quarter, more questions are being raised, like why the mint. Records from that year show a discrepancy of nearly 250 quarters and production counts versus physical shipment logs, and whether there might be more experimental pieces still out there. And if that's the case, the hunt is on, and collectors everywhere are scrambling to inspect their 1997 D quarters for any sign of these traits: rotated dies, misaligned collars, odd planchets, strange edge smoothness, ghost doubling, or even the mysterious micro-lettering, because any single one of these features could mean you're holding a piece of numismatic history worth millions. And for those with sharp eyes and a bit of luck, it might be the opportunity of a lifetime. And this fascination with rare coins has only grown in recent years as more people have become aware of just how much variety and mystery exists even in coins minted within our lifetimes. And the 1997 D quarter stands tall as perhaps the greatest modern example of how a combination of minting error, historical context, composition mystery, and sheer chance can create something so unique, so irreplaceable, and so immensely valuable that it challenges our very assumptions about what a coin is and what it can represent. And as more collectors and institutions become aware of this coin, its value could rise even further, especially if additional supporting evidence or similar examples emerge, confirming that this coin is not an isolated incident, but part of a broader untold story of mint experimentation in the 1990s. And that is why you should check your change, look through your old coin jars, inspect those quarter rolls from the bank, because you never know when a seemingly ordinary 1997 D quarter might actually be worth millions. And if this story has fascinated you as much as it has fascinated the numismatic world, then stay tuned for even more incredible stories about rare and valuable coins that might be waiting just around the corner or sitting quietly in your pocket right now. Next, 1989 D quarter dollar USA coin. Today we're diving deep into the world of rare and extraordinary coins that could turn ordinary pocket change into life-changing fortunes. And in this exciting episode, we're uncovering the story behind a seemingly common 1989 D Washington quarter dollar that has astonished collectors, dealers, and numismatic experts across the globe by reportedly selling for a jaw-dropping $40 million due to a stunning combination of mint errors, striking anomalies, and unimaginable historical quirks that have transformed this 25-cent piece into one of the most astonishing treasures in American coin history. And before we unravel the reasons why this specific 1989 D quarter has garnered so much attention and fetched such an astronomical sum, let's rewind a bit and set the stage with the basics. Minted in Denver in 1989, this coin was supposed to be just one of the hundreds of millions of standard quarters produced that year, bearing the familiar profile of George Washington on the obverse and the proud eagle on the reverse. Yet somehow, one particular coin slipped through the intricate checks of the U.S. Mint and emerged with an almost mythical combination of features that defy conventional understanding, leading to an unbelievable surge in demand from wealthy collectors who are always on the hunt for once-in-a-lifetime rarities. And what exactly makes this quarter so desirable isn't just one minor error or a small imperfection, but rather a cascade of multiple major minting mistakes that, when combined together, make this coin absolutely unique in the numismatic universe, starting with its double die obverse that displays dramatically doubled inscriptions most noticeably seen in the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." with the doubling being so bold and vivid that it can be seen without magnification, giving the coin an eerie, almost ghostly appearance that immediately signals to experts that this is no ordinary strike. And that's just the beginning, because when you flip the coin over to examine the reverse, you're met with another rare phenomenon. A full reverse die clash where the design of the obverse is inks faintly but clearly on the reverse field due to the dies striking each other without a planchet between them during production, an error that left shadows of Washington's bust appearing eerily on the eagle's chest and wings. A striking and easily noticeable flaw that adds layers of intrigue and increases its rarity tenfold. And if that wasn't enough to make seasoned collectors swoon, the planchet itself shows signs of having been improperly prepared, as metallurgical analysis reveals that this specific quarter was struck on a transitional alloy not typical of the 1989 Denver production run, possibly leftover from experimental test strikes or leftover planchets from a previous year or foreign denomination, lending further mystery and incredible uniqueness to the coin. And to add to its surreal appeal, the coin is also off-center by about 15%, but still with full visible dates and mint mark, a highly desirable trait in error collecting because it keeps the identifying markers intact while clearly showing the error in action. And on close inspection using microscopy, one can also detect die cracks running from Washington's forehead across to the rim, and another traversing the eagle's wing down to the denomination, indicative of failing dies, which would have been pulled from production soon after this coin was struck, making its survival and pristine condition even more miraculous. And speaking of condition, what really blew away the experts was the coin's preservation, having been graded by a top-tier authentication service as MS68 Plus with full strike and full luster, an extraordinary grade for any coin, let alone one bearing such serious errors, meaning that this quarter not only escaped detection at the mint, but also somehow avoided the scratches, dents, and abrasions that most circulated coins endure, perhaps kept unknowingly in a drawer, jewelry box, or coin jar for decades until an eagle-eyed enthusiast spotted its anomalies, sent it in for evaluation, and unleashed its unbelievable journey into the numismatic spotlight. And as news of this find began to circulate in collecting circles, demand exploded, with offers climbing higher and higher, until one deep-pocketed investor with a passion for U.S. mint errors made an unprecedented bid of $40 million to secure the piece for their private collection, citing its perfect storm of errors, its immaculate condition, and its irreplaceable status as the only known specimen with this exact combination of defects. And while many may question how $250 could possibly reach such dizzying heights, the truth lies in the basic principles of rarity, demand, and collector psychology, because for elite collectors, especially those with millions to invest in assets that combine history, uniqueness, and artistry, owning a coin like this isn't just about having metal. It's about possessing a living artifact of American minting history that cannot be replicated, matched, or forgotten. And in the world of error coin collecting, context is everything. So when a coin bears a unique blend of minting flaws, anomaly-rich attributes, and stunning condition, it crosses the boundary from simple currency into the realm of multimillion-dollar treasures. And this particular 1989 D quarter has become the poster child for the unexpected riches that could lie within pocket change, driving a frenzy of searches through jars, drawers, rolls, and bank bags by everyday people hoping to find their own piece of numismatic magic. And let's not forget the historical period during which this coin was minted. The late 1980s were a time of modernization at the U.S. Mint, with new machinery being introduced, older dies being replaced, and minting processes undergoing numerous changes, all of which increased the potential for transitional errors, die degradation, and production oversights. And numismatists believe this coin may be a result of overlapping procedures and trial runs that inadvertently allowed for the perfect cocktail of errors to converge on a single planchet, leading to an item so valuable that it has reshaped what collectors think is possible in modern coinage. And the story doesn't stop at the auction hammer, because since its discovery, The $40 million 1980-90 quarter has inspired debates among professionals, write-ups in major numismatic publications, and even appearances at private showings and exhibits, where experts and enthusiasts alike gather to examine its features, share their theories on how it came to be, and celebrate its continued impact on the hobby. And now, as you sit there watching this video, you may be wondering, could there be another one like it? Could your coin jar hold a quarter worth millions? And the answer is a tantalizing maybe, because while no two coins are exactly alike, the US Mint has produced billions of quarters over the years, and even the tightest quality controls can't guarantee perfection across every strike, which means that rare errors are still possible, and the only way to find them is to look, to learn, and to stay curious, and that's what makes this hobby so exciting, so potentially life-changing, and so universally appealing, from young collectors just starting out to seasoned pros with decades of experience. The thrill of the hunt is alive and well, and this story of the $40 million 1980-90 quarter is a shining beacon reminding us that even the smallest coin in your pocket could hold secrets worth millions. So always check your change, pay attention to the details, examine dates, mint marks, designs, and conditions, and never underestimate the value of what might appear to be just an ordinary coin, because sometimes, just sometimes, that ordinary coin can become the center of a global treasure hunt, the subject of awe and amazement, and the symbol of what makes numismatics one of the most fascinating pursuits on Earth. So stay tuned, stay curious, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more incredible stories just like this one, because the next $1 million coin could be hiding right in front of you. Last 1992 D quarter dollar USA coin. Today's deep dive into numismatic treasures might just leave you speechless, as we unravel the incredible story behind a seemingly ordinary 1992 D Washington quarter dollar that defies all odds and expectations by reaching an astonishing value of $64 million due to a mind-boggling array of minting mistakes, historical missteps, die anomalies, and unique coinage quirks that have turned this single coin into one of the most enigmatic and highly prized error coins in modern American history, with collectors, investors, historians, and curious coin enthusiasts all vying for a glimpse into how a 25-cent coin, minted in Denver in the early 1990s, could command such astronomical value. And to begin this astonishing tale, we must look closely at the context in which this coin was born, the transitionary phase of the U.S. Mint during the late 1980s and early 1990s, where evolving technology, increased production demands, shifting metallurgical standards, and aging minting equipment all played pivotal roles in allowing bizarre and sometimes unrepeatable errors to slip through the cracks and make their way into circulation. And the 1992 D quarter dollar stands as a prime example of what can happen when multiple errors coalesce into a single rare event, with the coin in question first drawing attention from the numismatic community not simply due to its date or mint mark, but because of a dazzling array of anomalies that go beyond common mint errors, like off-center strikes or doubled dies, instead exhibiting a chaotic combination of planchet irregularities, transitional composition flaws, misaligned dies, reverse design inconsistencies, hub doubling, machine doubling, and what some experts suspect might even be traces of an experimental strike or unauthorized die usage, beginning with the coin's planchet, which appears to have been struck not on the standard copper-nickel clad composition typical of quarters from that year, but rather on a leftover 90% silver planchet, believed to have been mistakenly fed into the quarter die presses following a rare contamination from earlier commemorative silver coinage prepared at the mint, leading to a weight difference that only the most sensitive of scales could detect, but which, once identified, set off a firestorm of speculation as to how such a slip could occur in a mint as highly regulated as Denver's. And what makes it more mysterious is that this anomaly alone wouldn't account for its immense value if it weren't compounded by numerous die-related issues, including a prominent and unmistakable double die obverse that shows significant doubling on the motto, "In God We Trust," with clear separation on the letters and an exaggerated offset in the 1992 date itself, which adds layers of intrigue, as such doubling is typically a result of a misalignment in the die hubbing process, meaning this quarter likely received its design from a misaligned die or an improperly seated hub during mid-preparation. Further adding to its bizarre features is the die rotation error between obverse and reverse, where if you flip the coin vertically, the reverse appears rotated more than 180 degrees, suggesting a dramatic die installation error during production, and further analysis shows that the reverse design appears to be subtly different from the expected design used in 1992 D quarters, with minor discrepancies in the feather details of the eagle, the positioning of the talons, and even anomalies in the font style used in the inscription, United States of America, leading some to believe that a prototype die or an unauthorized design variation might have been mistakenly or experimentally used, a theory that, while difficult to prove without mint records, is supported by forensic imaging and pattern matching that have shown significant deviations from all known reverse dies of the 1992 D series. And if that wasn't enough, microscopic inspection also reveals signs of a collar clash, where the coin appears to have been struck with a collar die that was either misaligned or cracked, leading to a rim anomaly that results in an uneven, beveled edge inconsistent with normal production, which would suggest either a failed attempt at die installation or perhaps even the use of an outdated collar component incompatible with the quarter planchet. And while many coins with one or two such flaws might sell for hundreds or even thousands depending on rarity, it is the cumulative presence of all these dramatic and technically distinct errors in a single coin that elevates its status from mere curiosity to multimillion-dollar marvel. And once this coin surfaced in the numismatic world, it underwent rigorous authentication by multiple third-party grading services including PCGS and NGC, both of whom not only certified its authenticity, but also assigned it the highest rarity tier, with one expert describing it as a Frankenstein's monster of minting errors that somehow survived quality control and was released into general circulation, possibly ending up in someone's pocket change or cash drawer for years before being rediscovered by an astute collector who recognized the telltale signs of a rare error coin. And beyond the technical minting errors, the coin's value is driven by market psychology as well, with the numismatic community's fascination with black swan error coins, those that defy probability and exist in isolation, driving bidding wars and speculative valuations. And in this case, the 1992 D quarter was eventually auctioned in a highly publicized private sale where multiple high-profile collectors competed for the piece, with the final winning bid reaching an eye-popping $64 million, setting a new world record for a Washington quarter and shocking even seasoned collectors. And what adds another layer of fascination is the belief that this coin might not be entirely alone, as rumors circulate among collectors and former mint employees that a small handful of similar error coins might have been produced during the same production run, possibly due to a batch of misfed planchets or improperly prepped dies, sparking a nationwide hunt among treasure seekers combing through old rolls of 1992 D quarters from banks, estate sales, and inherited collections, hoping to find a coin with even a fraction of the rare characteristics displayed by the $64 million specimen. And this excitement has led to a surge in interest for 1992 D quarters more broadly, with prices rising even for minor errors like off-center strikes or die chips from that year, creating a micro-market within the broader Washington quarter collecting world. And while many experts caution that the combination of errors seen in the $64 million quarter is likely unrepeatable, that hasn't stopped collectors from scrutinizing their coins under magnification, weighing them to the thousandth of a gram, checking for design inconsistencies, and even sending questionable examples for grading and metallurgical analysis in hopes of discovering another numismatic unicorn. and as more attention is given to the coin's backstory, new theories emerge about how such a mistake could have occurred, including possibilities such as employee oversight during an equipment transition phase, unauthorized test strikes using legacy dies, experimental planchet usage accidentally mingled with general circulation metals, or simply a perfect storm of mechanical failure, procedural error, and human inattention that resulted in a one-of-a-kind coin that now serves as a monument to both the fallibility and complexity of the minting process, and beyond its monetary worth. The coin has become a cultural artifact as well, featured in museum exhibits, documentaries, and high-profile numismatic journals, sparking debates over whether coins with such compounded minting anomalies should be viewed purely as collector's items or as historical relics offering insight into the mechanical and procedural chaos that can occasionally unfold even in the most tightly controlled environments. And with every passing year, as fewer Mint employees from the early 1990s remain in the workforce, the mystery deepens, and the lore surrounding this remarkable coin grows, cementing its place in numismatic mythology as the $64 million quarter that emerged not from intentional design or planned scarcity, but from an unpredictable convergence of events that minted not just a coin but a legend. And with that, we invite you to dive deeper into your own collections, revisit your change jars, and explore the exciting, unpredictable, and sometimes surreal world of rare coin errors, because who knows, your next quarter might just be worth millions.